If you're new to Pathfinder 2nd Edition, or you think the game is a little too complicated, this video is for you. Today I'm going to be explaining the 3 core systems in Pathfinder, and I think once you know these, you'll be able to intuit your way through the entire game. Hey there, Goblins. I'm Robert with Goblin Salvage Rights, and today I'm explaining the core systems of Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Before we get started, I'd like you to jump into the comments and guess what you think these 3 systems are going to be. They might make their way into a new video in the future, so let me know. Proficiency. This is a core system that's baked into every single role you make in Pathfinder 2nd Edition. In my opinion, it's the crown jewel. It represents your aptitude in a skill you can train and get better at. The first thing you have to realize is that proficiency is everything. Your AC is proficiency. Your attacks are proficiency. Your saves are proficiency, your spells, etc. And it's also true for your opponents, the monsters or other NPCs in the game. So let's break proficiency down into its component pieces. Untrained, trained, expert, master, and legendary. If you're untrained, you get a fat 0. You don't get any bonuses, nor do you get your level. If you're trained or higher, however, you get a +2, a +4, a +6, and a +8. Level is also added into your proficiency bonus. This kind of represents your accrual of knowledge and skill as you level up. It also serves as a way to balance the game based on level itself. So if you're untrained, you obviously get a 0. But if you're trained, expert, master, or legendary, you'll get whatever your level is there. Now, your proficiency bonus is technically just that. Your level plus either 2, 4, 6, or 8. But that's not nearly everything that goes into a bonus total. Ability modifier. Now, this is the most static of all the bonuses to your check. It's created during character inception and doesn't really change that much over the course of your character, maybe by 1 or 2 from levels 1 to 20. However, it's really, really important that you get this as high as you can for the checks that matter, because the difference between a 10 and an 18 are staggering. +1, +2, +3, +4, +5. Now, most people won't get to this 20 here until about level 10. Item, status, and circumstance bonuses. Now, these are the bonuses that come from outside of your character's creation. They're things like armor bonuses. They're things like the bard sing-songs or other debuffs or buffs that you accrue through abilities, spells, or circumstances. These bonuses are the ones that really contribute to your ability to crit and get the job done. All of this looks nebulous in a vacuum, so let's compare an attack roll against AC. We've got a level 4 martial character attacking a level 4 light armor opponent. All right, so the attacker has a trained proficiency of +2 with their martial weapon. Their level is 4, so they get a +4 to the attack. They're attacking using strength, which is an 18, so they get an additional 4 for that. Finally, they're using a magical +1 sword, giving them 1 more item bonus to attack. All right, now to the defender. They're trained in light armor, so they get a +2. They're also level 4, so they get a +4. Their dexterity is +4, so they get that ability modifier. And finally, they're wearing leather armor, so they get an item bonus of +1 to their AC. Now, the total bonus for the attacker is 11. So they get a +11 to their attack roll. They roll a d20 and add 11. The defender's bonus is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 as well. The total AC of the defender is 21. That's because when we're setting DCs in Pathfinder 2nd Edition, we always just add 10. So that equals an AC of 21. This is why we don't have opposed checks in Pathfinder 2nd Edition. We set a DC based on ability modifiers by adding 10. So all of this means that you're going to need to roll a 10 or better in order to hit the opponent's AC. That is a 55% chance of success. and you crit only on a 20. As you can see, these are evenly matched. Proficiency and level act as a way to balance both of the encounters for level. This is what contributes to the robust and simple encounter design philosophy that Pathfinder 2nd E boasts. For every level that you are higher than your opponent or your opponent is higher than you, they get a 5% chance better at hitting and critting you. Proficiency acts as a 10% bump when you hit certain threshold levels. So for instance, the fighter starts off with an expert proficiency in martial weapons versus a trained proficiency. That means they're 10% better at attacking with stuff than pretty much everyone else. But this is getting into party composition territory, which is a topic of another video that we're going to do in the future. Success. In previous editions, success was a binary. You either succeeded, failed, or if you rolled a 20, you got a critical success. But in Pathfinder, we have steps. In Pathfinder 2e, we have 4 steps of success: critical failure, failure, success, and critical success. You critically succeed if your total is 10 more than the DC. You critically fail if your total is 10 less than the DC. Natural 20s increase success by 1 step. Natural 1s decrease success by 1 step. There are also some special abilities from classes and stuff like that that increase success by 1 step, turning critical failures into failures, turning failures into successes, and turning successes into critical successes. But what does all this mean exactly? In combat, making a basic attack is called a strike. And if you get a critical success, you deal double damage. If you get a regular success, you deal normal damage. And if you get a failure or critical failure, you just do no damage. It's pretty simple. 10 or better is a critical success, extra good. 10 or worse is a critical failure, and it's super bad. Now, if we look back at our previous example, we're hitting on a 10 and we're critting on a 20. But let's say we slap some debuffs on the defender, -3 in combination. That reduces their bonus to 7, making a 17 their AC. That means we're hitting on a 7 and critting on a 17. This is where the game begins to diverge from previous systems. Every bonus you get to hit and every debuff you put on your opponent's AC is not only increasing your chance of success, but increasing your chance of crit. This is the magic of the Pathfinder 2nd Edition system. 3 actions. Instead of a move, standard, and swift, you get 3 actions. Spells and abilities that use actions denote them like this. There's a list of basic actions that can be taken by everyone on page 470 of the core rulebook. Some key actions you'll be using all the time are stride, strike, and step. Now, these are all 1 action each. This is probably the most overwhelming part of the entire game, which is all of the actions you have access to, understanding which ones are good and which category and during what circumstance. A cheat sheet is definitely useful. Now, many players run into the issue of not knowing what to do with their 3rd action. A lot of times you'll move in, make a strike, or you're already in combat and strike twice. A lot of classes and abilities have set up actions you can do like Rage or Hunter's Mark. But after that, what are you to do with this 3rd action? Attacking 3 times sounds good in theory, but you get a multiple attack penalty every time you attack after the first. So the first time you attack, there's no penalty. Second time you attack, it's a -5. And the third time you attack is a -10. Some other actions like Trip that have the attack trait also incur this penalty. If we reflect on what we've learned so far, that -5 and -10 are serious penalties. The -5 you can get away with. I think if you've got an opponent who's debuffed and you're buffed quite a lot, you can still normally land a second attack in a turn, but that -10 is next to impossible. Remember that critting and critically failing are 10 apart. No, they're not. They're 20 apart. What am I talking about? What are frogs? So what do we do with that third action anyway? Well, a lot of monsters have powerful three action abilities that they can do. So making sure you make them use one of their three actions is actually really powerful. One thing you can do is step or stride away from them. A lot of times, if you step away from them, they're going to have to use their action to get close to you. And in Pathfinder 2nd Edition, the attack of opportunity is no longer a ubiquitous thing that everyone has. It's a special ability that only certain monsters and certain player classes have access to. In addition, if your stride speed is higher than that of your opponents, you can actually force them to waste 2 actions and not just 1. Because if you're moving 30 feet away, let's say, and their speed is 25 feet, that means they have to stride twice in order to get within melee range. Now they only have 1 action to attack you with. You can also use the environment as your advantage. Let's say you move forward, attack, and then move back so that the opponent is forced to come to you into a choke point. Think creatively, look around, ask what the environment is like. Try to use those actions you have in a powerful and impactful way that isn't just options on your character sheet. Many skill actions like Intimidate don't have the attack trait and host a bevy of powerful debuffs that you can use to reduce your opponent's AC. Obviously, you want to do these before you make the attack roll, or you could use other skill abilities that reduce their will saves, setting up your caster's super cool spell and making it a lot easier for them to land their attack. Another common third action is the Raise Shield action. Now, you don't actually have to be trained in shields in order to use the Raise Shield action. I learned this the hard way when I first picked up the book. I scoured the entire thing and I just couldn't find shield proficiency anywhere. That's because there isn't one. There is a feat called Shield Block that allows you to use a reaction to basically soak damage from the blow. But raising your shield and increasing your AC by 2 is still an option for everyone. Speaking of reactions, not all classes have immediate access to a reaction they can use reliably. Now, it's really important for you to maximize all of the actions that you have available. So when you're doing character creation, take a good hard look and try and figure out what's a reaction I can pick up from my ancestry, from maybe a background or class ability that I'm not thinking of. Being able to reach for that reaction almost every turn can be really powerful. The best example of this are champions that get a cool reaction whenever their friends are attacked. A lot of people build their entire champion around that class ability because it's that powerful. All right, goblins, that's it. Proficiency, success, and 3 actions. With those 3 core systems understood, you're going to be able to run pretty much everything out of combat and in combat. All of those checks are basically tied together by that system. Now that you understand the system, check out this video to figure out what class you want to play. If you have any questions at all, or if I didn't explain anything perfectly, let me know down in the comments and I will jump on those questions and answer them as soon as possible. Thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate it. This video took a lot of hard work and I hope you like it. Keep it weird, goblos. Goblos? Goblos? What are you, goblos now? No, you're goblins. Goblins.